What's up, guys? Welcome back to Inside Out Precision. It's new bow season. So Mathews was one of the first companies to release their 2021 lineup. We got these in on the 17th, the morning of the 17th. It's now the 20th. And lots of hype around this bow, as always, like there is with Mathews. Everybody was really excited to see what they did. And while it is very reminiscent of the VXR 31.5, there are some new features and changes that they've made that I think are a decent upgrade from an already extremely successful platform and amazing shooting bow that was, the VXR 31.5. So as usual, we're going to jump into the technical specs, things they did differently from last year to this year, and then we're going to shoot it through the chronograph, both at 30 inches and 28.5 inches at 70 pounds with a wide variety of arrow weights. And I usually do that at 28 inches, but I'm out of the 70 pound 28 inch mods. So we're going to go with 28.5 today. So jumping into the technical side. Again, this is the V3 31. It is 31 inches axle to axle, as the name would suggest. It has a 6-inch brace height, which is, pretty much been kind of their go-to brace height for all their flagship lines for the last, 4 or 5 years probably. So no change there from last year. Comes in at 4.5 pounds is what it's listed at. Now, kind of an odd thing. We actually hung this bow on the scale, and it came in at 4.25 pounds, like 4.24, 4.25 pounds. And we thought maybe the scale was miscalibrated, so we grabbed a little just 5 pound like plate that we have here, a plate weight, and hung that on the scale, and it registered it right at like 5.01 pounds. So the scale seems to be calibrated, yet this is coming in almost a full quarter pound under what it's rated at, which I find it hard to believe that the engineers at Mathews missed the physical weight by a whole quarter pound, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Glitch in the matrix. But anyway, so yeah, 4.5 pounds. It still has the switch weight cam technology. So if you aren't familiar with that, without backing my limb bolts out at all, just by changing the module, I can make this bow a 60 pound peak, 65, 70, or 75 pound peak weight, and then adjust down from there with the limbs if I need to. So that technology, same cam system that was on the VXR last year. So a couple things that they've done differently here. Oh, I should mention, this has a IBO speed of 342, so right with the VXR. Again, like I said, this bow's pretty reminiscent of the VXR. They didn't make any giant leaps. They just kind of made some minor tweaks and changes to the VXR, more or less. So yeah, 342 feet a second, so no slouch on speed. And they got a bunch of cool new camo patterns. Well, not a bunch. They got 2 new camo patterns. So this is the Ridge Reaper Forest, like, what do they call it? The All Country or something. Yeah, all season. Sorry, I got my little cheat sheet here. And it's basically the Under Armour Forest, but just a little bit lighter. It's not as dark green. And then they also have the new First Lite Spectre, which is First Lite's new camo, and that's probably going to be a pretty popular one as well. So still has the Engage grip as well, which anybody who knows me, I've never been a fan of Mathews grips, although I think this is probably the best one that they've, stock grip they've come out with. I still pull it off and put on an aftermarket grip, but that's just me. So let's get into some of the changes that they made. Obviously, they shortened it up by a ½ inch, so not a big difference there. The biggest thing I think is that they lightened up the physical weight of it. That's always been a complaint of people's, is that they think Mathews are heavy. So even if it is 4.5 pounds and not 4.25, like I was saying, that's right on par with most aluminum bows out there. So, very easily packed around. It's not cumbersome. It's not a boat anchor. The other thing they did is they changed up their dampening system a little bit. So they still have the dampener in the front of the riser here, that 3D dampener, but this one's called the 740 Nano, and basically it's just smaller. I'm not really sure if it does anything better or worse, but as usual, this bow is extremely smooth and extremely quiet, like Mathews always are. They also changed up the limb pocket system a little bit. I think they lightened it up. I think it's a different material, a different kind of aluminum. Looks pretty much identical to the one on the VXR, but they did say they changed it up a little bit. And then the biggest thing is the new technology is this cable guard here that is angled. And basically what this is going to do, they call it the center guard. And most bows, that cable guard comes out up here. So the rollers are actually above the true center of the cables and riser of the bow. And the idea behind this is really two things. One is that by putting this right in the middle of the cables, it creates even pressure and an even amount of length of string between the guard and the cam. So when you're timing the bow, you're getting, a true sense of timing. Now I've never had an issue with the VXRs, like timing them. Usually when the cams are timed correctly, it almost always shoots a level hole through paper. You're just adjusting the left-right tear out of it. But this does give you supposedly like the most accurate timing read that you can get. It does give you a little bit more clearance on your vanes as well. Not a lot. When I say a little, probably like a 1/16 of an inch. But for guys that are shooting like a big high-profile vane, like the Pro Max Hunter or something like that, that doesn't hurt anything to have a little more clearance there. We were kind of worried when we first saw it and we took it out of the box. We weren't sure that we were going to be able to fit certain rests on there, but this is the Hamskea hybrid Hunter on here, which Hamskeas are amazing rests, but they're definitely one of the bulkier rests on the market, and no issues fitting it on here. There might be some rests that you can't get on there, but I don't think you're going to have any issues. We were kind of worried that they were going to try to force us into using that integrated rest system, which I'm not a huge fan of because it's still just a cable-driven QAD rest. But yeah, no issues here. Getting everything, cinched up on here and running the way that it should. Now, I know what people are thinking, oh, they didn't do anything from the VXR. And to be completely honest, I would kind of agree with that. This is basically a VXR with a different cable rod, a little bit more parallel limbs. They laid those limbs back a little bit in order to give you a long riser length. But for the most part, like if you shot a VXR with your eyes closed and then I handed you this and you shot it with your eyes closed, you'd probably think you're shooting the same bow. So again, it's no like groundbreaking technology in this, but they did improve upon just little tweaks here and there to make an already awesome bow that much better. So if I had a VXR 31.5, I would probably not trade it in to get this. But if you're looking for a new bow, if you got a bow that's a few years old and you're looking for a new one, why not go with the latest and greatest? So definitely going to be a home run. I think Mathews, every year they produce awesome bows. And we're going to review all their new bows in the next coming weeks here. But I'm excited to shoot this thing. Now, I say this every single time, and I still always get comments on it. I am left-handed. This is a right-handed bow. So for me to draw 70 pounds, I'm going to look like an idiot. My shoulder's going to be low. My anchor's going to be ugly. But just shooting through a chronograph, it doesn't matter, right? Like my form's not going to have any impact on the speeds that this bow shoots. So I've got the chronograph set up over there. I'm just gonna move the camera and we'll run some arrows through this thing. All right, so we got the chrono set up here. I got a wide range of weights and arrows here. So this is my personal arrow. This is 516 grains. I have a 485 grain arrow, a 465 grain arrow, 440, 410, and then 352, which is, that thing's gonna be a rocket. So this first one is gonna be at 28.5 inches. This is right out of the box, so it's making, just a shade over 70 pounds. So again, this is a 516 grain arrow. Remember, I'm left-handed, this bow's right-handed, that's why that's so ugly. So 268, which is actually really good speed for 28.5 inches. I think my Traverse is shooting like 279, but it's an inch and a half longer at 30 inches. Okay, so this is a 485 grain arrow. Really common weight, for like elk hunting and deer hunting. It actually draws pretty dang smooth. 277. Here's a 465 grain arrow. .283. Here's a 440 grain arrow. So this is a really common weight. Like there's a ton of guys out there with an arrow right in this range. This is just like an Axis 340 cut like 29 inches. Okay, so 440. 287, so not a huge jump there between 265 or 465 and 440. So this is a 410 grain arrow. You start seeing some jumps here. 297, so pushing 300 there. And then this is an Easton flatline. This is super light shaft. This is a 352 grain arrow. But this would be an arrow, you know, if you're setting this bow up for like a competitive 3D, you know, you might have an arrow this light. So we'll see what it does here. Oh gosh. 320. So 28.5 inches with a light arrow like that going 320, that's moving. So I'm gonna go put the 30-inch mods on that, and we're gonna shoot those exact same arrows again and see the speed difference. Okay, so we got the 30-inch mods on here. Gonna do the same arrows. And again, I am left-handed, drawing this bow right-handed, so please save all the "you suck" comments when drawing the bow. So first arrow is 516. So 281 with a 516 grain arrow, pretty good speed. This is 485. .287. Now we got 465. Get on the string. .295, so that's moving. That's like a really common weight arrow too, so it's a pretty realistic expectation there. This is a 440 grain arrow. .305, climbing the ladder. All right, 410. Probably lighter than most people would shoot for a hunting arrow, but pretty common weight for like a 3D arrow or something. Oh gosh. 309, so not a huge jump. Seems to be pretty efficient with heavier arrows, which is good. And now for the light one. This one's 352, so this thing's gonna be freaking screaming. Oh gosh. 334. So that's ripping. It's a little bit under what an IBO's at, or what it's rated at, but still really good speeds out of it. So yeah, like I said earlier in the video, I think if I had a VXR, I don't know if I would make the jump. I don't think there's that big of a difference between the two, but as always, Mathews delivers on another really smooth, quiet, fast bow. So in my opinion, if you're looking to upgrade from a bow that's 3 or 4 years old, this is probably a really good option for you. You know, like I was saying earlier, we seem to kind of plateaued in the technology we have for how fast we can throw an arrow and still make a bow that's shootable. So yeah, this kind of falls into that category. You know, I think the last 3 or 4 years now, all their bows have been right in that like 340 to 345 range. And this kind of falls right in the middle of that. So go check one of these out at your local Mathews dealer, or swing by the shop here in Springfield. We got a bunch of demos as well as plenty of stock right now. If you have any more questions, hit that comment section below. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And as usual, remember to keep them in the middle, and precision is a decision.